and welcome back to the Roast with Friends podcast. It's your boy JayMan. I'm here again with C Rock. You want to tell them what to do, C Rock?
Please like, subscribe, follow, tell your friends to follow, tell your enemies to follow, tell somebody to follow, please, and like and subscribe.
Appreciate it.
Don't do sexual harassment. Yeah, that's gonna
be. Yeah, no sexual harassment. We're gonna kind of follow up with some of the topics from the last episode with Lamar being a Black author. Did I say Black author? My bad. So this episode, it kind of got into some serious conversations that we're gonna get further into right now.
Yeah, you got to start being an ally, and that's to anything, like even race aside. Like y'all conversation about women in gaming like that hit me hard because I was never part of that crowd of like women or show me your boobs or like doing derogatory things that way. But like I had to really sit back and be like, but did I advocate for women in gaming? Did I try to protect them? Did I try to make them feel safe in any way? So if I was in that chat and some dude was going crazy, did I step up for her? And I realized I didn't in the moment. And most of that was because I was just a young, immature kid who was afraid to speak up. But like I had to really learn how to be an ally. And that goes with anybody else. And like one of you mentioned, I forgot who was like, and don't make yourself the center of the conversation. I'll tell this quick story. I know we got off right, but I love this conversation, so I don't even care. I went to Ghana for work. Like my job took me to Ghana for 2 weeks, and we did this whole conference about like reconnecting with our roots. So one of the events we did where we went to the slave castles in Ghana where our people were held, raped, murdered, where they never saw their family again. And it was a very powerful like experience. So we get out of it was like hundreds of us. So we come back, we debrief, and most of us are Black, but there was a few people who were not. So this guy we're debriefing, and the guy holding the workshop was kind of like, all right, so I actually want to give people anyone who is not Black, I want to give you the opportunity to speak right now. So is there anybody who is not Black want to talk about this experience? And he made it a point of like, y'all don't get to talk first. I'm going to let y'all talk last if you want to. So nobody said anything. And then this guy, he's like, just making sure like nobody wants to say anything. And then prompts this white lady to jump up with cornrows. She's wearing cornrows. She jumps up and starts essentially like raising her voice of like, I'm not going to speak right now because it's not my place. I'm not going to stand up and take away the space from you guys, and made everything about her. And her whole point was not to take the opportunity away from us, while she made a whole scene and made it about her, and then started crying. When someone confronted her and then wanted people to like cater to her and comfort her in her difficult moment, because it was uncomfortable for her to stand up in front of a room of Black people and talk about how she felt in slave castles. Like, you felt uncomfortable, but we had to live what our ancestors had to live. Our ancestors lived this, and you're uncomfortable because you have to talk about what you're feeling in front of Black people. And really made that a whole ordeal about her, to a point like literally the whole thing derailed because she centered the whole conversation on what she's feeling, and never once discussed. She never even acknowledged Black people in the room outside of saying she was uncomfortable talking about this in front of Black people. And then had the nerve to say she was an ally because she wore cornrows and her husband was Black.
Yeah.
and I was like, and that's allyship.
He's like,
that's
my
what
Black
yeah, right.
See my Black husband, I suck his dick. See, I'm an ally. Like, nah, but
no, you just fucked a Black man. That's all you did.
Yeah, I get the Black experience, man. Nah, but
it's just crazy.
Yeah, dude, it's what it is. And it's just like, sometimes I feel like we make no progress because it's like me and JayMan talk about, it's like, dude, we can't even get white people to listen to us sometimes. Like, how are we gonna change anything? You won't even you won't even comprehend our standpoint sometimes. So how are we supposed to move forward? It's like it's a weird it's like a conundrum. Like I try to think my way through it and try to find solutions, but
it's a hard me too, man. I really do sit up and think a lot, because like a lot of my a lot of my novels are just like Black people living a life, fun, love, and whimsical, like cool little stories. And then all my poetry deals with like social commentary, and observation. So like my poetry is what talks about like racism and oppression and like just real like life. It's like very morbid compared to like my stories. And like I think about it a lot sometimes. I'm like, what the hell can we do? Because the times we tried to talk it out, like JayMan and I were talking about this like before we recorded, like, you know, there's a situation with a mutual friend of ours during the George Floyd. And it was like, he's white. And it was like, I'm trying to talk to him and make him understand why that Target was burnt down wherever the fuck it was. These people didn't just wake up one day and say, I'm gonna just burn the fucking Target to cinder just because. They burned it out of frustration. Like we went up, we asked for something, we got the door shut in our face. Like I don't know if y'all saw that Tupac interview where he talked about like you being hungry and you walk past this hotel and someone opens the door and they have a bunch of food and water in there. He's like, so when you first come up to there, he's like, you will come in like singing and dancing and trying to get them to give you some food and water. And he's like, he's like, and you keep coming back to that door. He's like, eventually you just gonna have a Glock 9 and be like, give me this motherfucking food because I tried to sing, I tried to appease to your human side and you didn't listen. So now I got to resort to violence. And like, I sit and think about this a lot. And I'm like, we try to talk it out. They don't listen. We do something else. They don't listen. And like the side of me is like, this shit is always going to exist because we're never heard. Like we acknowledge like, oh yes, Black man. Yes, you were murdered by the police, but you shouldn't have done drugs. And so it's like they justify any and everything. And so it's just like we're just damned at times. I feel like I'm very morbid, but I just feel like we can't do anything to progress because at the end of the day, there's always going to be someone who is not Black that don't understand, refuse to understand, and refuse to learn and listen. And it's a morbid train of thought, but that's just kind of where I'm at in my life.
That's where I'm at with it too. I 100% agree. Like it's a conundrum because it's just like, you know, it's hard to get people to understand or even to negotiate because like there's a lesson, like I don't listen to this dude no more, but he was like, dude, it's hard to negotiate when you're on your knees, you know? You don't like if somebody comes in with a gun and they put a gun in your head, they get on your knees, there's no negotiating with them.
Yeah, what you gonna tell him?
Wants and he doesn't.
Yeah,
and you can't negotiate from a weak position. So that's what we've kind of always done.
Yeah.
And and like it's just hard. That's why change is so slow because we have no power to make them do anything. You know what I mean? And we have no, you know, somebody said a good point. Like, why do you think Black people or like white people aren't killing Chinese people in the streets right now? He's like, because they have a country to back them up, a powerful one. If they started doing what they were doing to us, to Chinese people, the Chinese government would have something to say about that. And to us, we got nobody. You know, like we're just kind of like, you know, to be Black American, homie, it's like somebody said it best. It's like to be American with no privilege and African with no memory. You know what I mean? Because we have no connection to the. We have no connection to the homeland, and we have no privilege. You know, we're treated like outsiders here. You know, and so it's just a real conundrum. I thought about that so much, like, and it sucks. And I hate to say it out loud, but you know, because my wife is pregnant, and I thought about that. Like, damn, you know, and it's a boy. I thought about that, like, man, bringing a male. I feel bad because, like, you know, I have a daughter already, and I'm gonna have to explain this shit to her sometime. You know, like about how it is. You know, like she's an honor student, she's all that, and I'm just like, hey, dude, you know, like
at some
they're
point,
gonna hate you.
Yeah,
and they're gonna hate you because you're better than them, because you're smarter. You know, like, and it's sad, dude. It makes you fucking like real depressed, man. It's just like, you know, every story we can't sit here and just listen to a Black author and celebrate that without hearing the story, like, some white people tried to hold me back from doing my shit. That's like everybody, that's like every nigga's story is like some white people then did A, B, and C to be.
Because like
any
you said,
successful Negro up in here. Like, so how did you become a successful real estate agent? First of all, I was trying something else with some white people, and they was like, "Nah, nigga, nah." You know what I mean?
well, because it's like you said, we're systematically, statistically, we're at a disadvantage. We're not talking about exceptions. So for people hearing this, for your dumbasses, there's rich black people out there who have rich kids, but that's not the standard. Like, so for us, for the majority, statistically, like I said, we are always we're inferior from like a position of power. We don't have the respect. We don't have the capital. We don't have the political power. We lack all of this agency to advocate for ourselves and make people listen. So like we just really just at the mercy of somebody. We can't say, well, you know what? I ain't gonna deal with this white man. I'm gonna deal with this white man because that white man might have the same thoughts as this one. And if they don't have the same thoughts, if they're not a Trump, all lives matter MAGA supporter, he could be on the other end of the spectrum of like you mentioned, Get Out. Like, oh yeah, I would have voted for Obama a third time if I wanted to. I love hip hop. I love that Macklemore. And well, y'all know me. Man, somebody came up to me once when Macklemore was popping. I was like, what does popping tags mean? Is that stealing? Because my kids is rapping it, and now I think they're stealing things. I'm like, man, get the fuck out of my face.
I'm about to steal on you if you don't get the fuck out of my face.
It threw me off. I was like, this dude just walked past all of these people and just found a one black dude he saw. Was like, what's popping tags?
That's fucking insane.
Hey there, Jamal.
My name is Lamar. All right, Jimmy.
All right, Jamal. Jimbo, buddy.
Lamarcus.
Lamarcus. It's Lamar. It's like, it's like weird, dude. Like,
it's a weird feeling. And like, I want people to know, like we are put in some weird ass situations on a day to day, and we just gotta eat it. And like I make light of it because like what else can I do other like I can't take it. I don't want to be mad about all of it because I'll just be mad my entire life. But we really just be dealing with some bullshit like on a day to day, and we just gotta find a way to navigate through it and be okay with it. Because if we call it out, well, yeah, there you go, pulling the race card again, or just they don't even acknowledge it. Well, what did he mean to offend you? Well, maybe he didn't understand. I'm like, if he didn't understand that saying a off-color slavery joke to a black man in 2023 is offensive, I don't know what the fuck to tell this dude. There's nothing I can tell him to make him understand. Nothing. So we just be put in awkward situations, y'all. But man, thank you for this conversation. It was a dope ass combo. I love it.
Yeah, man. Hold on, get my headphones. All types of technical difficulties today. First of all, McDonald's Wi-Fi.
I mean, it could be worse, man. It could be weird to see the Wi-Fi, so don't even worry.
Hey, for anybody who don't know in the audience, yes, I'm using the Wi-Fi from the McDonald's next door. I'm not paying for this, so that's why I'm just fucking with you.
I mean, you gotta at least give him a shout out. Come with the ba 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 ba.
I'm gonna go over there and buy a big
the Wi-Fi. I'm loving it.
Go over there and buy a McDouble. Like, hey, thank y'all for that password, y'all.
Yeah, right.
Nah, but yeah, it's weird, and it's like you can't even deal with other minorities sometimes. That's why I hate that people of color phrase sometimes. Because some of them be just as bad as white. I'm sorry to say, some be just as bad as white people. You know what I mean? Like they treat you worse sometimes, dude. Some of them, you know what I mean? And then
I've been called the N-word by some. I've been called an N-word by like. Actually, I ain't gonna say the race, but let's just say a race that is not white have called me N-word more than white people have.
Yeah, yeah, and it's just like it's weird. It's like, you know, we deal with Southern. You know, I live in Southern Cali. We deal with a lot of Latin people, but you got to remember, a lot of them were the white people over there before they immigrated here. You know what I mean? So it was just different white people. It was the Spanish instead of the Anglo-Saxons, but you know what I mean? So a lot of them hold the same sort of point of views about us. It's like weird because like one of my mom's foster kids, he went to Japan and he was just like, yeah, they racist over here. And I'm like, what the fuck is niggas? The hell have we done to Japanese people? And
I heard it's really bad in Japan for Black people.
Yeah, and I'm like, dude, like, what the fuck have we done to y'all for y'all to hate us? You know, like we ain't done shit to no Japanese people, but it's just like, it's like weird because you feel like you have no spot on this planet to where you're safe. You know what I mean? To where you can just be you, and it's like, it's weird. You know, one of my a lady I follow on Instagram, she said it perfectly. She said the worst part about like this whole situation in America is they enslaved us, you know, meaning white people, and their reputation's intact, and we look like animals to the world. You know what I mean? Like it's like the weirdest thing, you know, like they brutalized us for 4 centuries and everybody hates us.
And that's not even addressing like all the systematic things. Like when people talk about like, oh, that slavery doesn't exist. I was like, what y'all don't understand? My mom was alive when Martin Luther King was murdered. Like, like she was alive when Jim Crow was happening. Like, so like racism is not that far, you know, removed. And you're yeah, man. But go ahead.
Yeah, it's like we think like I was talking to a friend about that. Like we think it changed because we think it got better because it changed. And I was like, yeah, you look for 1965 style racism in 2023, but I'm like, when you look at a Ford Mustang, you don't look for 1965 technology in the motor. I'm like, so why do you look for the same type of racism? Like it just adapted. You know what I mean? So it always has. Slavery went to Jim Crow. Jim Crow turned into what it did now, and it just got better every time. It's adapted into something else to where now it works below the surface, and it's a more insidious, and it's easier. It's harder to spot. You know what I mean? It's harder to, you know, like to you know, now okay, we went from enslaving them, then Jim Crow, making sure they stay at the bottom. Now we massively incarcerate them. You know,
that pipeline to prison.
You know, like so. You know, like I was telling one of my coworkers, I was like, you know, like during the civil rights era, like the majority prison population was white. He was like, I was like, yeah, it didn't really start turning majority Black till about the 70s. So I was like, what do you think? Like white people just said, oh man, we ain't commit crime no more. Nah. And Black people was like, hey, we'll pick up the slack. We'll pick it up. We're just gonna do more crime, buddy. And then I was like, nah, they just started. I was like, dude, you know, like that's what we mean by systematic. It was in the rate, it was in it's in the rule set. They just changed the rules and started throwing people in jail for drug crimes and shit like that. And
it's like
they over police our neighborhoods and then blame it on us. I was like, it's the same fucking thing, nothing new. So it's just like it's just they're nicer about it. You know what I mean?
They're gonna hang you from a tree unless you like in Alabama.
Yeah. They ain't gonna hang us from a tree no more. They just gonna get a police officer to shoot us. And sometimes that police officer look like us. You know what I mean? And so like it's just it ain't changed, man. You know, like, and then like I said, I don't know. All I know is this. I very rarely say this. I'm not a violent person, but like, but fuck it. I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but I saw an interview with Trayvon Martin's dad, and I remember like, you know, this dude's crying, and like I remember thinking, what a bitch. Like, and I hate to think about that. I'm like, but like like I said, I'm having a son. Some dude do that to my son, hit my face, and my shotgun and my ugly mug would be the last thing that nigga see. There's no way I'm dying in my bed warm. You're gonna be putting a needle in my arm. I'm sorry. And I hate to think like that because I'm not a violent person, but what else could I fucking do? I pay taxes into a system that won't treat me fairly. You know, I pay all my taxes. I work hard. I you know, like I've done everything. You know, like Jesse Williams said about Black people, there's not a war we have not fought and died on the front lines for this country. There's not a tax that has not been levied against us. There's not a job we have not done. And we've done it all. But I'm supposed to sit here and watch some dude lie on the stand like he did to Trayvon Martin, about murdering my son who was just coming from the store, and then he gets away with it and then sells the gun
Mhm.
And then you
for
told us a
He's
black
out there,
man to
out there
forgive him.
signing autographs, signing
Yeah.
Skittles packets. It's fucking disgusting.
Yeah, and then
Maybe.
we're told to just forgive.
Forgive, yeah, fuck
Yeah,
that.
fuck
I ain't
that,
got no,
yeah.
I ain't got no forgiving. You know, whatever God you believe in, like some atheists, I'm gonna send you to him, and I'm gonna have him forgive you, because I ain't forgiven.
No.
And I hate to say it like that, but that was my honest thought. I don't know Trayvon Martin's dad, and I don't really think he's a bitch per se, but like that's just how I felt. So I'm like, look, dude, like I hate to have these thoughts, but and the same goes for my daughter.
But
But
they're
I
real
hate to,
thoughts though, man.
but
Like,
and that's
Yeah,
why
that's real.
yeah.
and I have a very extensive gun collection. We're actually going to do an episode on that too,
Oh.
and that's why I have it, and that's why I'm proficient in it. That's why, you know, like, and I hate to have to think of that, but it's just like after 400 fucking years, what else am I supposed to do? I would expect nothing less if I was on the other side. If I did that to somebody's son.
I don't have a kid, man. You know, so congratulations, you know, on your son. And hopefully, you know, your wife has a healthy, you know, pregnancy and childbirth.
Thank
And,
you.
you know, so I'll say that I don't have a kid, but I can only imagine like having this, you know, you have this being in this world that is part you, might even think like you, act like you, look like you, and you coming from this position, you know, as a black man, to know that the world, the society, at least Western society, is not set up to protect him from getting killed. So if he gets killed, it's also not set up to like provide him justice. So like literally your child can get murdered in the street and the news is going to write a campaign and go, well, did you know when he was in kindergarten, he stole some candy? And then they paint these kids or these people like they're monsters. So then it justifies these people getting up. It's like, oh, I don't feel bad that he died. He was a thug. He was this. And then now you just got to sit there and watch society demonize your child, because that's what they're going to do with a black man. They're going to do that to us. They're going to demonize them. And then the officer who did it or whoever did it gets a pat on the back. He gets to go on Fox News and talk to Tucker Carlson. When he was still around, you get to do a whole tour about how you're a proud gun owner. And all of these racist people donate millions of dollars because, oh, boo-hoo, like he has lawyer fees he has to pay. And no one is there to protect him. So I don't fault you at all for having that, because as a father, shit, and no one else gonna protect my seeds but me. So you take my kid's life, I guess I'm about to take yours, because no one else gonna right the wrong.
Exactly.
And, you know, if society was built different, if America did better, then maybe you wouldn't even have that thought, because maybe you would have faith in the justice system.
And
but
I know we could change it. And I know like so white people could change it, because look how quickly, you know, they wanted abortion illegal again. Look how quickly that happened. That happened in in 5 decades.
Yeah.
That's a snap of the finger. That happened in less than 5 decades. Boom, they got
affirmative action. They got rid of
affirmative action. They got that shit gone. Affirmative action been gutted since the 90s when they did that first court case, but they want any remnants of that shit gone. When they want something to happen, it fucking happens. But then with this, it's just like, well, you know, it takes time. It's just like, nah, man, you just don't. I'm gonna have to assume you want it this way, and you're happy with it this way, and that's why I was like, you know, you know, it's part of the reason why I feel the way I feel. I'm like, dude, like I'm gonna just say it like this. I heard this story. I don't know how true it is, but somebody said on I read it on Instagram. They said when they liberated Auschwitz, in one of the ovens, somebody wrote on the wall, if there is a God, he'd have to beg me for forgiveness. And I was like,
that's powerful.
That's how I feel. like coming up in this, it's just like, you know, somebody asked me, why don't you believe? Like, look, I'm gonna point right here to where I came up. Like, how could I reconcile what my people had to go through and your existence? You know, because you all knew it was gonna happen. You knew. So like, you know, I'm not gonna get into that conversation, but I'm like, dude, it shapes, like racism in this country is literally shaped my entire like belief system to that point to where it's just like,
You
you
start,
know,
yeah. Damn, man, it's
yeah,
powerful.
man, it's
That's-
like
yeah.
it's like, you know, I can't, bro. Like it's this shit just ain't right, especially like I don't know.
Right.
I hope I couldn't do some of this shit. I'm not trying to come off overly judgmental to like people in dominant society. I hope like if I was on the other side of this equation, like I would do the right thing. But we never know.
Yeah,
But I'm on this one. But I'm
Yeah.
on this side, and I know what's right or what's wrong, and it's just like, you know, we as a people have never deserved what we got from this country. We don't deserve to have like you like with your work. We can go back to just even a small level with your work. You didn't deserve to have your work overly scrutinized or told that it's not it a certain demographic wouldn't want it, so you can't do it. You know what I mean? Like that other artist won't get, you know?
Yeah.
And there's plenty of just bad white artists out there making books and nobody ever tells them, you know, like, oh, you know, you're the
This
Negroes
isn't white enough.
Yeah, right.
I mean?
You make it a little less white,
You know,
little less mayonnaise sandwiches.
Jesus Christ, her name, you know, the main character's name is Melanie. I mean, Jesus, can you get any whiter than that? Can we blacken it up a little bit, buddy? You know,
Yeah, right.
you know, like it's, you know, like we all get it, you know, like we've all experienced it at work.
Yeah.
You know, just, you know, we as Black people have never deserved what we've got from this country. Like a rapper named Big Crit said it best when he said they give us hell like we asked for it. You know, like
damn,
Yeah,
true.
out the Big Crit, man. I love Big Crit. Yeah.
Like, you know, like, and it's like it's true, man. Like we never deserved what we got, like from this country. We didn't just like we didn't deserve slavery. We didn't deserve Jim Crow. We don't deserve prison for profit. We've never deserved it, but we get it anyway. And it's like,
and we're told to take it and shut the hell up about it,
and feel bad for them. Feel bad and center their feelings in it. You know what I mean? And it's like it's a nightmare, dude. It's like a nightmare, dude. Like and like just dealing with the dominant society in this country, man. And it's like it's everywhere. You know, into all
industry, every single industry.
Yeah, you know,
it's gotten so bad to the point where me personally, sometimes I try to have fun with racism. Like if I'm at Target or something, like I'll purposely like walk a little close to a white lady. Someone, come on, clench your purse, come on. Like, like I'm not saying I'm gonna do nothing to her. It's just like, come on, baby. Like I want to count or see if she's gonna clench her purse or not. And like, damn, I'm kind of losing it. I used to be more scarier in my younger years, apparently, because I don't get the purse clenches often. So I mean, what else can we do? You know what I mean? Like
you gotta find
having fun
life.
in that specific situation, but it's like, damn, nigga, like sometimes I don't even want to leave the house. Like I don't want to deal with, you know, the way somebody might look at me just, you know, going to pick up some takeout or something. You know, it's just because I know you guys know that look, that little like kind of smug look white people give us sometimes. It's like, something ain't right with this one. Like, let me just get my shit and get on up out of here.
Is that, and then they want to act like they nice. They do like that little teethless smile where they kind of sucking their lips, kind of
do that nod.
It's like looking hella uncomfortable.
You're like, all right, at least that's the submissive smirk. Like I'm not too worried about the submissive one, but there's that kind of smug one that they do.
Oh,
you like off to the side, like the kind of like that. And I'm just like, all right,
kind of that.
Yeah.
This nigga,
I got you.
They give us this
you
nigga
know,
look.
it's like it's just little, and it's funny because like if you're not Black, you don't pick up on these little social cues. Like you can really get a vibe for a white person, like when you very first meet them. And so sometimes I don't even want to deal with that. So like sometimes people invite me to like the parties and shit.
I'm like, I'm cool.
And I'm like, man, I don't feel like meeting somebody new.
Yeah, because you don't know
like
I'd rather
just like if it's kickback with people I know, then cool. Like I have the time of my life, but it's like interacting with new people these days and like hearing like the stupid shit they say, the subtle racism. It's like I'm over it. Stay my Black ass at home.
Yeah, and it's funny, like you know, you mentioned like these they're essentially microaggressions, you know, that people don't
That's what
have to
they're
deal
called,
with.
yeah.
They don't have to deal with them. Like for me, I don't know, like if y'all have ever had this, like you at work and you think to yourself, like, damn, this person could be calling me all the N-words in their head right now. Like for me, I had those thoughts, and I'm like, I don't know if a white person just kind of come like working, and a black person comes in, like, man, I wonder if they calling me a cracker right now. Like I have to like we live with that reality, and then like even if you step away from the joke of the moment, you could be like, man, if I was making this person feel intimidated, this shit can go south for me real quick. Like I went to the grocery store and I was like grabbing, it was like a work party. I was like, all right, I'm gonna grab some chips and shit. And I'm just chilling. And this old ass white lady, this lady was like, I ain't gonna lie, it fucked up. She looked like death was gonna come knocking at any moment. And she just turned and she's just watching me the entire time. Like, and I'm in line to like check out, and she's just staring at me. And then like even when I turn like to make sure like to see if she's still looking, she is still like staring daggers into me. And like it's for a moment I wanted to look at her. I was like, what, bitch? Like, what the fuck do you want?
Yeah.
Because it's like, what?
And then you're the bad person
I'm
in
the
that
bad
situation.
dude.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, I'm gonna just like chill, because it got so annoying that I really did want to say something like, can I help you? And I was like, you know what, I'm gonna chill, because the optics of this situation, no way I walk it out here looking, it looks positive for me.
Exactly. Yeah.
I'm gonna come off as an aggressor. I'm gonna come off weird. And I'll say this, I don't gonna be watching white people. I give a fuck what they be doing on their day-to-day. Like, I mind my business. I've never just be stand there and just stare at a white person like they're an animal. Even if it's not like, oh, you deserve to die. It's like, I still feel like I'm treated like an animal by some people. Like, oh,
yeah, white people's imagination of us is 10 times worse than what the fuck we even got going on. And it's funny, there's this comedian that said that when black people murder, they murder like other black people like 95% of the time. And he was just like, move your white bitch, I'm trying to shoot the nigga behind you. Like, I wish I could shout out this comedian, but that's exactly how I feel. Like we ain't worried about you unless you're doing something personal to us, our family, our kin, our friends. Like, we don't give a fuck about you. Like, get the fuck out of our face. Let us do our shopping and go about our day.
Yeah, because they paint this narrative of like, yeah, we want to rape all the white women, kill all the white men. Like, I don't pay you no mind, like anybody else. I don't be worried about nobody but me, myself, and I and my loved ones. Outside of that, I don't care. But yet everybody feel like they got their eyes on us.
That was our purpose for being brought here in a way, but not just to extract our labor, but just to distract lower class white people. Because remember, the modern way of I can't remember the names of everything, but I remember the story. Like, the modern concept of racism essentially started with it was a revolt that started in Jamestown back in the colonies. And basically it turned really big. It lasted for almost a week, or probably a week or so. And it almost like burnt the whole city down. And the last 100 people to give up were 80 African and 20 European indentured servants. So that's how the wealthy came up with the modern concept of race. Because remember, the concept of race that we believe was invented before biology. So it's not really like based in science or anything. So basically, they were like, okay, Africans, your slaves for lives, white people, you're indentured servants, and blah, 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 blah. So then indentured servitude ended up going away. So basically, it's not like we were just here to exploit our labor. We're here to keep white people occupied, so they never watch the people above them who are ripping them off. That's why white people stay so concerned with what goes on in our neighborhoods and shit like that. Remember what was going on TikTok when that one Walmart in motherfucking the south side of Chicago got looted? Because remember they said it was going out of business, and then a bunch of people just walked up in there and stole a bunch of shit. And you got white people all up on Twitter worried about this shit, who live thousands of miles away. It's like, why are you so worried about a Walmart in Chicago, nigga? You live in Florida. You know what I mean? Like, but that's the purpose, to keep you so
distracted
and so scared of these Negroes, to where you're defending a corporation that literally is harming this country.
Man,
and so yeah, like it's like straight up, dude. It's just our American mind frame. And like, I got one more story. Like I remember when I was in school, like in I was taking this one class. We'd have a test every Friday, like a small test, and she'd pass it back Monday. So it was a psychology class, an intro to psychology class. So she's passing back the test. And so, I had got mine. I was a good student, dude. I graduated with honors, but like, so, whatever. So there's this girl who sat, I didn't know her. She was sitting to my left, I remember. So she got her grade and I saw it, and it was a D. And so she was all ashamed. And so she was, this is that. And then she sat with her friends. And so her friends got theirs, and one of them got a lower grade than her. So guess what? She felt better.
Yep.
She was like, well, at least I'm not the lowest grade. Her whole posture changed, smiles on her face. And I'm sitting here, bitch, you got a D still.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that did nothing. This person doing worse did nothing to help you, but you feel better.
Yep.
And that's the American mind frame. We don't give a fuck how bad we're doing, as long as somebody else is doing worse. So these white people don't give a shit how much they're getting screwed over by these rich corporations. As long as Negroes got it worse. I think
they did that way. I think it's sharecropping. I'm with you. Like, I remember a lot of stuff, but like how it all connects, it escapes me. But I think it was like with sharecropping, like after slavery was, outlawed and all of that, it was when they were renting out land to people and making them work to use it. And essentially, they would, anytime like poor white people was kind of like, wait a minute, I'm kind of getting the short end of the stick too. They would like, at least you ain't the niggers though. And it was like, you damn right, I'm not black, and was happy with it. Because it was like, well, I got 2 acres, but the black folks got a half for one, and they paying more. So like, y'all all getting screwed in the like at the long run, but you doing better than black people. So they create this division and say, well, you don't want to be like the black folks. And so they just happy in that little small pocket. And that's why you'll get these people like, oh, the blacks and Mexicans are using up our social welfare. And it's like, no, white people take up most of it. Like, majority of people on social welfare is white folks. And if you get rid of it, you're taking the check out of your mailbox. Statistically, most of y'all, not us. But
they would do that shit. They would do that shit. Just because they know we would get harmed worse. Yes. They would fucking do that shit just like, oh, like, it's like, I don't know, like, yeah, dude, it's like setting off a bomb knowing that you're going to blow off one of your legs. Yeah. But then you're happy because I'm going to get both of mine blown off. You know what I mean? You're just like, oh, I win.
It reminds me,
like, I still got one leg. Like, hold on, you losing the leg though, player. Like
you still lost, bro. It reminds me like in Smash Bros when people like play Bowser and they grab the person and just kill, like just jump off the side and the person. It's like, I'm gonna just kill myself, like, because you lose a stock too, and it's like you sacrificing your own well-being just to screw the black folks. And like they do it every time.
Yeah, and it's just like, I don't know how to get them out of that fucking mind frame, because it's just, that's all they do. And even other groups do it too. Like we talked about affirmative action. Like, it's funny because like you think like, oh, they're letting all these Negroes in off affirmative action. This is like, nah.
Not even us.
You forgot that they let a good portion of you in on affirmative action too. So now that you got rid of it, you spited yourself to spite us.
I thought it was white women benefited. Wasn't it? At one point, white women benefited from affirmative action more than anybody else. Yeah,
they do. But like a good portion. So like a lot of it is a misunderstanding of like statistics. Like a lot of Asians do get like higher test scores, but like you're talking about like all colleges, like not elite institutions. So they took that and it's like, well, we get higher test scores, we should be more represented in Harvard. It's like, well, not necessarily. It's harder to get in. That's an elite institution. It's harder to get into Harvard. Like, you should be more represented maybe at fucking UCLA, but
and
not
there's
Harvard.
A lot of trust fund white kids that get in there. That's the majority of kids that even get into Harvard, is because their parents have money, or they're like their parents are alumni. They have connections and things of that nature.
Legacy admissions. Yeah.
So and that's how it told me it wasn't about fairness, because it's like, then why didn't you get rid of legacy? Why did you fight? Why didn't you not fight to get rid of legacy? You fought to just get affirmative action. It was just like, nah, you did this to spite us, because you're just like, oh, they letting all these Negroes in. And so it's just like, other groups just do that shit. You heard a lot of that shit during George Floyd, like a lot of, I don't like I said, it's just the American mind frame, bro. And I don't know how to get people out of it. Like, and frankly, it's just like you guys said, I have fun with it, because it's just like, dude, I'm 40. I got probably less times around the sun. I got less rides around this planet around the sun than I, ahead of me than I got behind me. You know what I mean? So I'm not gonna sit here and like stress over it on some level, but I still do like. It's still a problem that's gonna have to get solved, because I don't want to kick the can to our children. You know what I mean? Oh, I'm sorry, and
yeah. It speaks to the heart of Black folks, because we'll try to find the humor in all. It's like on Twitter, like no matter how serious the situation is, we joke it. And it's like it's our coping mechanism, because like what else can you do? You can cry about it, they're gonna tell you to shut up. You gonna fight about it, they'll kill you or throw you in jail. So it's like, I'm gonna just try to turn this into a joke to kind of just get through it. And that's that's been our default for a while now, because we have no other option. We have no power for any other change.
We can't go anywhere else. Like, it's weird, like we're so separated. Like, yeah, people look at us the same. Like, it's funny, like I've even explained to my wife, my wife is Latin. I was like, it's weird how like you look at all Black people the same, but you understand, because my wife's so Salvadorian. I'm like, you understand how you and a Mexican are different. You know what I mean? But to me, somebody from the Congo, somebody from Nigeria, and we all the same to you. Like,
and we have a different culture. Everything is different. Like, because when I went to Ghana, they did this whole ceremony. It's like, oh, we're family, and they do this whole thing of family, but then they start speaking their language, and I'm just sitting there like, well, I don't know this. I don't have this for this. So I felt like an outsider even when I looked, and it was a beautiful experience. Like, I'm not talking down on it, but like at parts of it, I still felt out of place, because yes, these people share the same color as me, but we have a different culture, because I was stripped of it.
Yeah.
So if I would go back to Africa, well, first of all, motherfuckers, y'all brought me here, so I'm here now. So live with it. And if I go there, I'm still just as out of place as I go to Europe. The only difference is these people Black just like me, but don't mean we just gonna naturally get along. They ain't gonna be like, all right, man, we brothers, we ain't gonna have no conflict. Like, I'm still an outsider. I'm still an outsider at the end of the day.
It's weird. So, it's like we have
something. Oh, my bad. Something.
No, go ahead.
Something that I like to do just to get the reaction out of white people, something I've been doing like the last year or so, is when they get on my nerves or say something stupid, I was like, fuck, man, why don't you go back to Europe? And it's like the facial expression, like they're so confused for a second, like, wait, like they don't understand for a little bit. Then it finally clicks, and they're like, oh, I'm gonna fuck you. And then they get all butthurt about it. It's like the funniest shit. And it's like, like you guys were the first immigrants, and you guys did atrocities, the most terrible, like horrendous things you can do.
Genocide.
Genocide. And like the fucked up part, a lot of people don't know this, maybe you guys do or don't, but did you know that 90% of the genocide is because white people didn't wash their ass and they spread all those diseases? 10% was them brutally murdering people, obviously, but 90% of the genocide was through disease because they didn't wash. And Native Americans actually taught these motherfuckers how to wash their ass. Nasty ass fucking white people
we the
coming over
barbarians
from Europe. Exactly, and we're the barbarians, we're the animals. You guys didn't even wash yourselves, you didn't bathe. Like, I don't know how the fuck they made it here.
They're more brutal. That's just what it comes down to. Like, I was at my other job and I overheard some white people on the other end, and they were talking about, it was Juneteenth, and so of course they didn't think no Negroes were around, so they started speaking like we weren't there. But then it went on into other things, and they were talking about the Indian reservation that's over here, because it's a casino by where I live.
Mhm.
And then they were just like, oh, those people, they're just mad because the white man beat them and this and that. And slavery was around for thousands of years, this and that. And I was like, see, there you go. Right there. That's what you really think, because now you didn't think I was on the other aisle listening to you.
Mhm.
Oh,
And
yeah.
so, but I was like, dude, it's not like, what do you mean beat them? Like, they didn't interpret that situation the same way you did. They didn't see, you came over here to conquer, and they were just like here. They didn't understand it. It was like, dude, you were just fucked up. You just showed up and just killed them
Took
off
it.
because you wanted their shit.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
they
they
just
came in
got,
on demon
for the
time.
most part, they just got sick and died. They didn't even
Yeah.
really get to fight and battle and protect their land. 90% of them died to disease. So it's like they didn't even have a fair fight.
Yeah, and it's just like, damn, dude, you like millions of people were killed, families, children, bro, and you just casually throw it out there like they're just jealous. It's like, damn, dog, like
It's because a
that's
lot of white
fucked
people
up.
are proud.
Yeah.
That's why they're so proud. I'm proud to be an American, because they fucking came here and they feel like they conquered somebody. It makes them feel good. It makes them feel powerful. Like, we took this land, and that's why they're so aggressive now. Because anytime, a Mexican or a black person like is they're gonna take this. Like, no, I'm gonna shoot them, and that's just the mindset that they had. That's how America was taken, and that's the way they see everything.
And that's the American way too. Like, we keep talking about this, the fabric of America. Like, I ask people all the time, imagine if North Korea just dropped down in Florida tomorrow and just started taking shit. It's a full out war. And it's like, well, yeah, because they came in our home. I said, so what the fuck did you think they did to the Native Americans? They came into their home and just was like, this is my place. It was, they essentially came on some Rick James shit, like, nice house, nigga. And like, and put their feet up on their couch and just kind of just did their own thing. And like, they don't understand it, because America's like, we can do what we want. If we like some shit, we gonna go and take it. And if I feel threatened, I can shoot you in the face. And that's just my right as an American, and nobody else can do that, man.
Because I think, that's the quiet part that they just don't say out loud. Because if they did, then they know the rest of the world would come against them. But it's just how they've acted, That's why it's like, I can't really believe your Christianity. And I even told one of my supervisors, we were talking about, I don't know if you remember Micah Johnson, the dude who did the shootings in Texas at the Black Lives Matter rally. He shot those cops. And it was, I can't remember exactly what year it was. It's probably about 6 or so years ago. But remember, he shot, there was a Black Lives Matter protest, and there was a bunch of, cops there. And he was basically sniping them. I think he killed about 5 or 6 cops. But then after it was all said and done with, they blew him up. Like, they didn't, he barricaded himself at some motel, and they found him, and they put a bomb on those robots that they use to defuse the bombs, and they rolled it into the hotel room and just blew his ass up. And then my ex-supervisor, he used to be a cop, and I was just like, damn, that was kind of fucked up. He was just like, well, if you were a cop, would you be the one to go in there and get him? I was like, hold on, you guys say you're the heroes, but I was like, but that's not what I meant, how it was fucked up. I was like, you don't know if he did it. He didn't get convicted of anything. What made those cops judge, jury, and executioner? I was like, you claim to love that Constitution, but see how quickly you throw it the fuck out the window the minute it becomes inconvenient. And the reality is they do it with the Bible too. You love that until you pick that shit up, like, turn the other cheek and blessed are the poor, till some Negroes act up like, man, fuck this shit. Let's kill these motherfuckers. Like, fuck. Jesus, you talking some bullshit. I'm about to blow these motherfucking Negroes' head off. So it's just like, I don't believe in it, because your actions have always told me, or the dominant society's actions have always told me who you are, and that's just what it is, like how I feel, you know what I mean? Because like I said, they and I think we kind of know it, you know what I mean? Like, they sort of low-key threaten us sometimes, like, oh, be happy you weren't born in slavery. And it's just like, oh, that's like saying, oh, hey, that's That's like an abusive husband telling his wife, like, "Hey, be happy. I don't beat you like I used to a couple years ago. I mean, I could, right? Like, they're basically like, sort of saying that shit, dude. Like, and just like JayMan said, they're not sad about slavery. If they had to, they would do it again. You know what I mean? Like, they just don't have to right now.
We in an abusive relationship with our country.
Yeah.
And we just got to take it.
Yeah. It's just kind of nothing we can do. Like, I don't really know what we can do, because it's just like, I don't know. Like, I remember when Bernie Sanders was trying to run in 2016, asked him about reparations, and he's like, "Oh no, I don't support it. It'll tear this country apart." And part of me was like, good, because it's just like, it's not like I hate this country, but on some level, if doing the right thing tears this country apart, it never deserved to stand. Well, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I was talking when you tell me getting these conversations about like violence and things like that, and people's like, violence is not the way. I was like, it's been the American standard. Name me one conflict in America or even a world that was resolved without motherfuckers dying or shedding blood. So, some people don't like the analogy, but I'm like, the motherfuckers was killing people because they didn't want to get taxed on AT. But the moment, something, a Wendy's catch on fire because people are out there fighting for their lives and their children's lives and want to be looked at as a human being, we went too far. Yet we'll destroy LA when the Lakers win. I remember in the early 2000s, they was fucking LA up. But that's cool. But the moment we go out there for a real reason, a cause, we gotta die. And I'm just like, so a lot of this shit I can't rock with, man. And
I feel like too, if we did leave, that's how fascism works. We're on our way to, part of me feels like we're on our way to a fascist state. If we all just got up and left, whatever country we went to, they would just find a reason to come there. Do you know what I mean? Like, this country really couldn't exist without us for the reasons I stated earlier. They need us to function, because you can't pacify white people without them being a fucking minority for them to fucking, and you can't really use Hispanic people because they're a little bit more diverse, and some of them are too close to being white for you to demonize them. So you can't like really per se. You can kind of use it, but it doesn't really get the same effect as it does with us. So they kind of need us. Like, this country would fall fucking apart without black people, strictly because who the hell are you gonna scapegoat when white? Like, if we Thanos snapped us all out of here, like, who you'll scapegoat after? Like,
they're gonna have to find somebody. Yeah, but who is it gonna be is the question.
It ain't. It's always most effective when you do it with us, and that's why they've never fully moved on to Hispanics. You know what I mean? Because like they're too close to essentially being white. You know what I mean? Like, they're people of color, like Kim Kardashian. Like, she's people of color, but she's so close to a white woman that it's fucking,
Well, because like, now that you mention it, like, when I think of other races, you can be a white Latino. You can be Afro. Like, someone can't be like, I'm a white black man. Like, what the, like,
nah, you a nigga player.
Yeah, exactly. So everybody else kind of had the benefit of doubt to say, like, yeah, I'm white. I can be white, or I can be white passing. Like, no matter what we say, no matter how we classify ourselves, we are niggas. And no one's gonna let us forget that, even if we want to.
And we're just a little bit more threatening. Like, they can do it to a certain type of Hispanic. Like the MS-13 member with the tattoos on his goddamn face and shit. But they can't, like, you can't use the average nerd Hispanic and scare the shit out of white people like you can do it with just any Negro walking through their neighborhood. It's just, it just doesn't have the same effect, or they would have done it a long time ago. You definitely can't do it with Asian people. Like, most Asian people, like, they just don't come off threatening enough. They may not like an Asian, but you're not. Unfortunately, you're just not threatened by a lot of Asian people. You know what I mean? Like, you don't see them as like a physical threat like you see black people. They're more of like a different type of threat. Like,
and even more than that, bro. Like, you mentioned it earlier of we're the only race that like universally we kind of hate it. Like everybody, from I forgot the young girl's name back in the 90s that started, kicked off the riots where she went into the shop, and I think the lady was Korean, following around the store, killed the little girl. Like, we are hated everywhere around the world we go into. Like, we hated by white folks. We go into Asian countries, they look at us like we all basketball players, or we're threats to them. Like, everywhere we go, we are niggas. So with other groups, like, it's not that universal like disdain for them.
Yeah.
For us, everybody hates us in one way or another.
So it's just like it just wouldn't work, bro. Yeah. Like, so like I said, bro, it goes right back to the same conundrum. I don't know what the fuck we can do. I hope humanity can like evolve, but I'm just not sure. Like, we're hitting pivotal points, not to get off into another topic, but I'm gonna just leave it like that. We're hitting pivotal points in our existence to where we literally hold the power to where we can kill off our species. And sometimes I'm just not sure we're gonna make it. Sometimes I'm not sure we deserve to make it. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm not sure. Like, at this moment,
off as a species, bro, because we will have science on our side. Well, that's not what God said. So, and it's like, bro, our planet is literally dying because of pollution and things, and there's a half of the world who can give a shit less because they were told it's fake. So we gonna die. Like,
so it's just I'm not too sure, man. Like, and that kind of sucks because it could have been like, I believe like we as a species do beautiful things, but it's just like I don't know. Like, I get to the same conundrum. Like, it's to the point to where, like, you don't even call people out on their bullshit. I'm like, this is gonna be more like just shit I'm gonna have to deal with. So it's more work than what's worth it. You know what I mean? Like, whatever. Like, cause there's one of my coworkers. She'll say some low key anti-black shit, like, a lot, and sometimes I'm just like, dude, fuck it. I'm not gonna call you out on that. You know what I mean? Like, cause
you get numb over it.
Yeah, the whole room is gonna turn against me. I do that. So say, what, I'm better off just finishing out this last 2.5 hours and get the fuck away from you. You know what I mean? Like,
that's a fact.
Because it's just, I don't know what to do, because it's just like I said, it's in everything that we do. Like, and just like I said, like, it goes right back to what we originally started with, where you tell your stories about getting into publishing. Yeah. And then, like, us doing podcasting and us doing our own thing, we go through the same sort of like, the same sort of fucking problems, man. But we here, man. We always been here, man. We got the blood of survivors in our veins. Like, that's just what it comes down to, it, bro. So we got the blood of the people who made it out that shit in our veins. So I mean, we just gotta keep on pushing, man. Because, like you said, I heard somebody say it, like, sometimes you just gotta cry standing up, man. You gotta cry moving forward. You know what I mean? Like, Kate lay there and cry about something.
But that's why, like, spaces, like, to be honest with y'all, I'll give y'all flowers again, is why, like, spaces like this is important, or people can be able to, like, like, for me, people like me write books or get in the music industry. Like, we can try, we got to move with some type of optimism and say, I don't know how we fix it, but I'm gonna try to plant a seed in one way or another, by having a podcast like this where we're talking about these things, and even like conversations, even in the humor of, like, if you're trying to get a girl, wash your ass. Like, it's these are real conversations to have. And people just seem not to understand the whole concept behind it. But, like, to have those spaces that we can create for ourselves and open up these dialogues, and hope that at some point we can inspire at least one person. And then that person can go and inspire somebody. And then at one point, whether we see the change, we're not going to see the change in our lifetimes, but hopefully our kids see the change, or our kids see the change, and just kind of keep, just keep seeing what we want to, doing what we want to see in the world. And whether we believe it's going to happen or not, just keep doing it, because I guess the change is going to come at some point. When it is, I don't know, but I hope it does change. And I hope that, your kids, all of our kids, can see it, so they don't have to deal with those microaggressions that we're dealing with. Or, you know, I really don't believe in, you know, color blindness, but if we ever get to that point, hopefully your kids never have to walk in the store and someone's kind of giving that like, nigga, I see you. And, you know, they can live in that world. And unfortunately, we had to live in it. But again, hopefully we can kind of make some changes that so they don't, or at least lessen the blow.
Yeah.
A little bit. So it fix every generation piece by piece.
Exactly. Some of our ancestors who were born enslaved probably didn't think slavery would end, but it did. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And some probably didn't. It cost us a lot, but some didn't think Jim Crow would end. And maybe in one way it didn't. But but hey, they still fought. They still got up and did it every day. So we got to do the same thing. You know what I mean? Like we got to endure, you know, the same way. Right? You know, we can't give up. That's why, like, you know, I'm glad me and JayMan are here. I'm glad you are here too. Like, you know, because I think it's important. Just like you said, wash your ass. You know, like it's just, it sounds so simple, but it isn't. You know what I mean? Like, it's somebody, and we need to create a space to where people could, like you said, have the conversations and can feel safe having the conversations, and to not, somebody might not make you feel, somebody whose hygiene might not be the best. We're not gonna make you feel like an asshole. I'm gonna say, hey man, we done all in some way been there. You know what I mean? And we had to learn, and you know, give these men a chance to grow, to call them out a little bit, but to give them a chance to grow and change and say, hey man, you can be better. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a call out to all love, man. And like y'all, again, I keep saying this, can't stress this enough. Like I got to give you flowers because it's refreshing to see two men not using a platform to like tear down people.
Yeah.
You know, it's not a, let me tell you why women is fucking up and they'll never get a man or things like that. It's just these things that like these conversations that need to be had is, you know, whether it's trivial, it seems trivial like that, or something very serious of like, women are just trying to play games like everybody else. And we just harass them the whole time. Like all of these, you know, there's a dichotomy to all of this. And like, it's important to have it. And y'all are two men who ain't tearing down nobody. And that's why this platform is so important. And that's why I rock with y'all. And I try to spread the love as much as possible because you don't see that often.
Thanks, man. We appreciate that a lot.
Definitely, man. Because, you know, like I said, like, man, we gotta, it's just started off with me and JayMan with conversations with each other. Like I said, he changed me on a lot of different things about how I saw things and shit like that. And I won't say he's never like not made me feel stupid. JayMan can do that sometimes, but sometimes I needed to feel stupid. You know what I mean? Like and
part of the process.
Feel like, hey, dude, damn, I was fucking up. You know what I mean? Or that was stupid of me. You know what I mean? It's like, you know, shame is a higher brain function. It's not always bad. You know what I mean? It's what you do with it. You know what I mean? But you can't always shame everybody. Ain't nobody ever been shamed into greatness. That's a story. That's what somebody told me. It was more. I wish I would have brought it up when we were talking about toxic parenting, because it's a saying. You know, like nobody's ever been shamed into greatness. And I think I might have said on the podcast, Michael Jordan's dad wasn't sitting there in the stands calling that nigga a loser until he got better. Nigga, like, you fucking suck, son. Look at that bullshit. You know, like look at that bullshit ass layup, motherfucker. You know, like he wasn't
That's
doing
a
that
great
shit
quote.
You know, so we not gonna do the same with men. You know, we're not gonna shame these dudes into greatness. We're gonna call them out, but encourage them in the greatness. Say, hey man, stop with this bullshit, man. Women are just people like you. You know, like, and you know, if you just did, you know, most of y'all just did a couple little things, dude. You'd be out there and you'd get the woman of your dreams. You know what I mean? Like it's you know, so I just think, you know, that's important because it's just like, it's just shit I had to learn, you know, like, and if I wouldn't have had like friends like JayMan, you know, like I wouldn't have learned a lot of it. You know what I mean? I would have still been stuck in my same old thought processes, you know?
Yeah. I appreciate that, man. And you've changed my point of view on a lot of things too. So we just kind of learning and growing together. So I appreciate you. And with that note, I think we're gonna go ahead and start wrapping it up. And before we get on, I gotta do the comment of the day. This one goes to homie Earn, aka Poachy. Comment of the day is: first, he he brought it old school with us. For some reason, that post just really made me laugh. I didn't expect to get a first comment, so I just replied to him. This is our first comment. So shout out my homie Ern. We're gonna have to get him on one of these podcasts. No way to say this without sound like I got some sugar in the tank, but he's got like one of the most soothing radio voices, so he's perfect for podcasting. And him and his brother are coming out with their own podcast called the Super Banks Bros, so look out for that. Giving them a little kick in the butt, because apparently they've been working on it for years and ain't put out no content yet. So get on it, y'all. Come on, we waiting.
I'm a DM. I'm like, where that podcast at?
With that podcast.
Thank you for everyone for tuning in to the Roast with Friends podcast. Thank you to my co-host C Rock, and special shout out to my homie friend, and also he didn't mention he's an actor too. I've seen him act.
Forgot about that.
Thanks for tuning in, and we gone.
Peace.